And we are live.
We are
Yes.
live.
It's the SMT podcast.
We live, boys.
I got a couple of guests with me as of right now. We might have another. We'll see. We have the homie Technoid. You guys know him from the Technoid channel. Mike is here. And we have the Moose Man. What's up, bros?
Mr. Booth.
All right, we got to do this unpacking thing. We're going to take apart, dissect the entire Uncarrier announcement from today from T-Mobile. There was a lot in there. As I was watching, listening, I was actually at work. I didn't get to see the whole, watch the whole thing. I kind of listened to most of it. I don't really want to watch, I guess, anyways, because, Eugene, bro, I don't need to see Eugene. So I got to be honest, he's, my least favorite part of T-Mobile. I love their mid-band 5G. I love the fact that they want to compete fiercely with AT&T and Verizon. I'm thrilled to see the competition ramping up and them as a legit competitor post T-Mobile and Sprint merger. But he's my least favorite part of the company, you know. And I've got my take on Eugene's sweaty armpits. You know, I make it very clear pretty much every time they do an Uncarrier announcement or they do an investor day.
The Yackle.
The Yackles.
The Yackle. That's it.
Yeah, and honestly, look. The announcement itself will probably help certain people, and that's good. But honestly, and Moose, you can attest to this, whenever carriers run promotions, do something special, the bottom line is they're helping themselves. They're not going to do something for customers unless it's going to benefit them. So this is good business. When the consumers benefit and the business benefits, that's actually the goal of business. Both entities, consumer and business, should succeed together. So for the consumer, it's getting a 5G phone, it's getting an unlimited plan, it's getting home internet, it's all of those things. But the business must benefit as well. That's good. That's a good transaction. Consumer benefit and business benefit. You know, my dad's got a bakery. We bake amazing goods, and the consumers love it, our customers, and we're in business to make money, right? That's a transaction. That's the way it needs to work. So we're going to take this apart from two angles, the consumer side and then the business side. That's what we do here, consumers and business. Usually, everybody agrees on the consumer benefits. Where people get their panties in a bunch, their pink thongs in a bunch, is when we question the business side, because we can see through certain things when you don't look through magenta colored shades. You know, I can't. I'm not an investor. I'm not Eugene Yackle. Yeah, I can't. I can't remove my objectivity just to cater to a company. I refuse. It makes no sense. They don't pay me. I pay them. I pay for the T-Mobile home internet, the mobility, the whole shit, right? So I get to say what I want to say because I pay them, and they don't pay me. So the reins are set loose. I could say whatever I want, and actually anybody can say whatever they want. However, your opinions, your perspectives can be questioned when you have a motive. They don't pay me. I'm not an investor. There's no benefit for me to build them up. The only people I'm here to help, just the consumer, anybody who wants to know my opinion on how I see it. If they don't want to know my opinion on how I see it, you can go anywhere and watch anything you want from any other creator. But if you're here, you will clearly want it to get my perspective. Unless, there's some people who are just strange and want to watch things they hate. I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
But anyways, we'll do the whole shebang today.
Sure.
I do have to get to some. We already got super chats, and I don't want to,
we got some.
neglect them. I want to give a big shout out to Big John Tech Reviews with the super chat. Big John, you're always so generous, man. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. You definitely didn't have to, but you always come through, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Big shout out to Nikki also with his super chat. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. A huge supporter of the SMT Nation as well. I see Dave. I see Vic. I see Sofak, Gary, Samurai, Eduardo, Bruce, Lavendi, Joshua, Brandon, Ron,
How dare you call
Caleb.
me a Padawan? Lavendi calls me a Padawan.
I see Carter. I see
Although
Tack,
I do kind
Ugly
of look like one, so
Duckling, Bart, Tim, Mike, Max, Joey, Baby Yoda. Who else? Mr. Carter, yeah. Who else?
Carter.
Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Info Assistant is here.
Info.
Flo Lou is here. Flo Lou is very impatient.
Reddit wants to know your opinion.
Yeah, right. Joseph, Matt's Tech Review. We got James. Yeah, I'm going to put the cape on in a second. Big Rubes, Family Dad. And I think we're almost there. Delon, if you're still here, good to see you. Kazi, see you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming through. Magenta Speed Testing is here. Dalvin, Keon, Thomas, welcome to the show. Ryan is here. I think we're good. I think we got everybody. I feel confident I got through everyone in like 5-10 seconds.
Oh yeah, you did. You did it in like lightning rounds. So congrats on you.
Trying, man. Trying.
Congrats. Okay. Congrats.
All right. Let's do impressions. First impressions. Okay. Let me know when there's super chats so I can get back to them. My moderators let me know, or Mike or Moose. So what I want to do is, Mike, I want to give you the thunder, dude. You're a thunder kind of guy. All right. So I want to let you give me your impressions if you watched, if you listened in, maybe you watched my video. Just go ahead, bro.
Okay. Well, for full disclaimers, I did watch the event. I was watching it during school, so it was actually kind of hard multitasking, but I did. I was on Twitter. I posted my opinion. I'll say what it is in a second, but I will just say I had never seen so many people coming at me on Twitter, but not because they hated me, but in respectful disagreement. So I gotta appreciate that. I gotta say. So I was appreciative of different perspectives, but I have never seen that happen before. But I'm going to be honest. I posted what I posted on Twitter. If you guys haven't seen what I wrote on Twitter, I basically was upset at the event. I felt it was a disappointment. I really didn't get a lot out of it. But after kind of breaking it in, I've narrowed down my official opinion. Overall, as an event itself, I'm going to look at this in two ways. Like you said, a business perspective and then a consumer's perspective. For a business perspective, I think the move and tactics they used were very, very smart. They're appealing to the mass audiences out there. I like that they did try to give some reassurance. I like that they tried in their marketing. The business field, we have to catch the eye of the consumer. We have to kind of make a pitch. So from a business perspective, I respect where they're coming from because these are tactics used on the daily. But as a consumer watching this event, I was totally bored, disappointed. And I felt that as a former customer of T-Mobile, there is no rush for me to want to go back. And not because of cellular performance, not because of any of that. I'll explain later. But just as somebody looking for a reason to come back. Because I wanted to come back to T-Mobile. I wanted to give them a chance. But after watching this event, looking at Mike Seaver, looking at what they announced, and really taking this whole marketing brand Uncarrier, it was a complete letdown. There was nothing Uncarrier about it. To me, in my opinion, I felt the event was a waste of time, and it solidified my opinion about Mike Sievert. I think he is a joke of a CEO. And that's not to say he's a bad guy, but I do not take him seriously as a CEO. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion.
Okay, so you had a couple of impressions about the announcement itself, and then you had some impressions about the CEO who delivered the announcement. Moose, your go, sir.
I'm reading the article here on T-Mobile Newsroom. I didn't see anything that I was wowed about, to be completely honest with you. They are going to be giving away a phone that on their website is $282, right? The A32 5G. They said that you can trade even a 1985 phone for the hype and the lull, I guess, because who cares about a 1985 phone? They're trying to match the Verizon thing, right? Because Verizon came out and said, oh, you can bring in your broken phone and we'll get you on a new phone, right? I think what basically T-Mobile said to us today was Verizon went on the front foot for the first time, and we have to match them because they got out-marketed. Verizon, for the first time, out-marketed T-Mobile this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then the it says the great free 5G phone upgrade. Now everyone in America can trade in any mobile device for a 5G smartphone. I checked their website for their trade-in program. An iPhone 6 is only $6 on their trade-in. So I don't know what type of promo this is going to be. I don't know if this is like a super limited time. So there's a lot of question marks. But the big one that we've all had issues with is the home internet.
Oh, yeah.
The home internet product is still in beta, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's still in beta, and I'll tell you why. Number one, there's a chip shortage, right? They have a really good video on YouTube. I just saw it today. Every single manufacturer, Sony, Microsoft for the Xbox and for the PlayStations, Apple, they use TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And since everybody outsources to them, there's only a finite amount of resources, right, that they can allocate to. And who's the one that's going to be buying the most? It's Apple. Apple has gotten everything they wanted, but that's why we have a shortage. So going back to what I was saying, this home internet product has a lot of issues that I know Sneed has mentioned time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
Unreliable hardware, unreliable software, unreliable connectivity issues. I mean, Jesus Christ. Once Tyrone gets on, he's going to say the same thing. He canceled his. He's done.
Moose, I'm going to add on to you real quick. It's not that I don't disagree with you. I completely 100% agree. But I'm looking at it in a different perspective, not just as a beta, but not even a polished product. Because this home internet gave me no reassurance. Like this event, they were hyping this to be, we're going to roll it out nationwide. They didn't even roll it out nationwide. This was like for 30 million households, which doesn't give me any satisfaction or give me any reassurance that they're going to be up to capacity. But we know they're not going to be up to capacity. For starters, their networks are heavily congested. We have all seen it. We have experienced it. We have done speed tests on them numerous times. But let's take that out of the equation. Let's look at this for what it is. Let's say this thing hits mass market, the 30 million households. The only people that would benefit from this would be the ones in the sub-rural areas of America. But here's the thing. There's not enough of N41 band cell width to reach that kind of area. There is no build-out process. And what I don't understand with T-Mobile rolling this out, and if you guys watching this listen to me and hear me out, they're releasing a product that they still have to build out. The last time I checked, a polished product means you have to do your build-out first, then you release product. I have never seen an instance where a product gets released and then the company says, well, we're just going to keep building it out as we release it. Now, I know there's support. I understand if you're going to add on. But how do you release an incomplete project and expect people to go on board 100%? If you're not even up to the task yet, which it baffles me that a lot of people are actually making defenses for this, how do you expect to roll out to nationwide when you're not even at capacity and you're not even a polished product? I don't understand. And to me, like I said, I'm not going to take up too much time. I'm going to let you go back, Sneed or Moose. You cannot release a product that is not finished. And the fact that they're releasing this product, home internet, and upgrading at the same time, big no-nos for me.
I'm trying to get Max Tech Studios a link here. He wanted to come in, so I will get this link to you, Max. Just give me a second. I'm looking for you here. Thought I had you direct message here.
By the way, we have some super chats.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah, I'll get
$2. Yeah, no worries. Take your time. Yeah. But yeah, Moose, I understand your perspective, but that's how I look at it. I look at it as an unfinished product, being rolled out with a build-out process as well. So for me, I look at it, but I'm not disagreeing with you. You're 100% right from your perspective.
Apple does not launch something that's not polished.
Yeah, they don't.
So, we have other companies that don't launch something if it's not ready. But because they wanted to be first, and because they wanted to be, and when I say first, I'm talking about the beta, right? They launched it, what, like a month or 2 months ago? No, a couple months ago now. Again, it goes back to, there are going to be certain places. There are going to be certain places that are going to be benefiting because they have band 41 and they have a lot of capacity. But here's the problem. Unlike Verizon, T-Mobile does not have a dedicated core for home internet users.
Yeah.
Even if you're getting 100 plus Mbps, that does not guarantee that your stream will not buffer. And Tyrone exposed that. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
So it's like El Paso is in arguably the most built out band 41 city because of how densely populated it is with T-Mobile customers, and it still fails. So how is it going to fail in rural, or how is it going to succeed in rural America when you probably only have one site, band 71, blasting it for 10 miles?
You know, that was another thing about it when I was looking at it in the bigger broad spectrum. You know, it's one thing to rule this out and market this for rural America, but like you said, there is no possibility unless they have somehow managed to segregate a lot of those network capacities onto that. And it can't be more than like one site. You have to expand this multiply, and they're not even in the process. They're still doing it. So it goes back to what I said. It amazes me how you can release a beta project. Now I get it. You got to release it to get some feedback, but they were in beta. They were in beta for a long time. And I don't understand why they pulled the trigger for now, because even when our good man Sneed over here had T-Mobile home internet, it failed. It worked for like, what, a month or something less, and then it just died down. Like, I watched that, you know. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll give like my experiences and what it's been like for the last few months. Let me get to those super chats like before I forget.
Sure.
Big shout out to Mark. Thank you for your super chat, bud. I appreciate it. Always very generous. Big Kaz, appreciate you as well. Nothing to be amazed about. A MediaTek powered phone. That's interesting. Samsung usually does its own chips.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
well,
with
the
the
thing
exception
is,
of the Snapdragon chips that they put in the flagships.
the Exynos, though, the chipsets on the Exynos, they know they're not that strong because that's why they put them in the mid-ranges, but also their partnership with Qualcomm just reassures stability. So I think that's kind of why they do that. Because the mid-ranges are like pennies.
Right. It's so the other thing I wanted to discuss, you mentioned how my experience has been. I know if I'm having problems and troubles with the home internet, it's not just me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not naive to think, okay, there's something going on with my internet connection. There's something going. So I went around and I asked people. We've had Tyrone on. We've talked about it within our cohort. Other people. Carlos has been working with it. Hector Tech Extremist has been doing it as well. Everybody's been using it and experimenting, and we've seen the evolution of the service. We've seen the loss of N41. We've seen the loss of N71. We've seen the loss of band 41 LTE. I've seen my bandwidth go from 40 megahertz to 20. There's a lot of these moving parts. I think it boils down to one thing. This is a product, slam dunk, if you are a DSL customer or if you are underserved or not served by any other providers. I think it's a slam dunk for them. It's also for people that have upgraded T-Mobile home sites, meaning if it's got the N41 treatment, you roll with it. Give it a shot. It's going to be great, probably. That seems to be the case. Most people are enjoying it with upgraded sites. If you don't have an upgraded site, it's trouble. Or if you have a site with limited capacity with a lot of users on it, it's going to be trouble. It's going to be too variable. The speeds will be up and down and inconsistent. There's a lot of factors that go into it. I've already proven that I've been throttled on it. I've proven that it's been deprioritized compared to mobile data on mobility, right, for users of smartphones on the network. It's clearly not what people think about when it comes to home internet. Home internet, you have a dedicated connection. You are supposed to be able to do whatever you need at mass scale within your home. Zoom calls, Zoom meetings, education, work, video, movies. That's the hard part that people aren't understanding here because they're signing up for something that they think they're getting, but I think maybe we have to change our expectations.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not making an excuse for T-Mobile, but I'm letting people know. When I was listening to Mike Seaver today, he actually asked, customers to be patient. I don't know if anybody caught that. I thought maybe it was just me.
I caught it. I called it out on Twitter.
Yeah, he actually pleaded with customers to be patient about availability and the hardware, the gateway. He clearly understands that they're launching this without actually having all the ducks in a row. The hardware has been compromised. The tower sites require updates to truly do this properly. And honestly, when they raised the price up, it was in response to the demand. The demand is so high, they were like, you know what, maybe we could slow demand by just, picking up kicking up the price. Big shout out to Tana. I appreciate you, Tana. The super chat. He said, yeah, just stopping by while I'm in the studio. Tana, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming through and showing love. And I know you're always working hard, and we appreciate what you're doing, man. Keep making that fire, bro, in the studio. Thank you, man. All right, so I didn't even really get to give my impressions of the event. You guys have been doing a great job of pushing the show around, which is great. But I do want to kind of go over some of my impressions and some stuff that I was thinking about and some things that I was considering while reflecting on the items and the things that they announced. So the 5G phone piece is interesting. So this is why I prefaced the beginning of the show. Don't ever assume that when a carrier, a wireless company, any company, don't ever assume that what they're doing is to help you. It must help them and benefit them as well, or it makes no sense. You can literally argue that if you are helping customers but not helping your business, you're failing as a business. Your board members should fire you, right? You're going to fail. You have to win in business. You're in it to make money. So on the outside, Mike Sievert is telling you, we're going to give you a free phone. It's going to be a Samsung. It's going to be great. 5G. We got 92% of customers in the U.S. don't have a 5G phone. We're going to change that. Now, here's a couple of things. Number one, it's a crappy phone.
Yeah.
That is 100% fact. Number two, the trade-in program does not move the needle like Verizon's does. They are clearly responding to Verizon's offer because they're saying bring in any phone.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? They're saying bring in any phone, not a broken one. It has to be working.
Just anything. Any phone.
Bring in any phone, any working phone.
Verizon did that with me. Yeah.
Right. They're talking about like the Razor, the Sidekick, some suitcase phone. They're literally saying any working phone. If it turns on, they'll take it. Clearly in response to Verizon, which is good. Okay, they're competing. I'm good.
Yeah.
Now, they're not really helping you much if you're coming out of a phone, let's say an iPhone XS Max. They're not really helping you because you're going to go from a XS Max, which is a true flagship through and through from a couple of years ago. It is only LTE, but it is leaps and bounds better than a Samsung Galaxy A32. There's no planet in this universe where you should do that trade. I would rather be on LTE than on 5G on a Samsung Galaxy A32. Nothing personal. It has nothing to do with N41. It has nothing to do with, Band 71. It's just the simple fact that the phone is an absolutely tremendous device compared to something that's more entry level than anything. Big shout out to Tony Phony Baloney. Appreciate that.
I like the hat.
Now they're calling this the Great American Free 5G Phone Upgrade. It's good for new and existing customers. The bottom line is this. Put the phone aside. Put the brand, the model, it doesn't matter. They have one goal, and that is to get everybody off of their crappy LTE and get onto their good 5G. That's the truth. The truth is they've heavily invested in Band 71. They've heavily invested in N41. They will continue to do so. Their end game is to get everybody on 5G phones to get on the 5G portion of the network so they can rearrange all the LTE, decom all the CDMA. It is clearly in the best interest of T-Mobile to get people off of those phones, and they're going to get good money for those trade-ins because they're sending those chips to manufacturers, the OEMs of phones. If there's a chip shortage, the value is high. T-Mobile's not losing in any which way. They're giving you a cheap phone, which keeps their costs down. They're getting you off the CDMA and Sprint network and all this other stuff, right? They're winning every angle. I heard somebody say today, the house always wins. Anybody who gambles or goes to casinos knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
The dealer, the house, they always win. That is true.
Just when you think you figured it out, they're 2 steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
Can't win it.
Big Austin, thanks, brother. Got to get on these live streams and speak sometime on the subject. Home internet isn't ready. Yeah, yep. Can't argue with that, bro.
We can get my feet up tonight.
Big Tone, thanks for the super chat. This Uncarrier move is the second funniest thing I saw today. The Jackass Cough CEO. All right.
Yeah.
So I just talked about the 5G phone trade and stuff, and I know Moose brought it up, and so we covered that a little bit. The next is the plan. All right, so they're willing to upgrade everybody to a newer 5G unlimited plan. They're calling this the Great Unlimited Trade-Up. Any limited plan customers that are with Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, or T-Mobile, they will match whatever you're paying now, but get you onto the 5G unlimited plan. Again, they are trying to get you more and more users on their 5G network, so they're trying to churn, get people to switch from Verizon, AT&T. I'm not going to argue with anybody. This is fact. T-Mobile has an estimated loss from the merger of $16 billion. I am extremely confident in that value. And that's because customers from Sprint are leaving, and they are going to bluer pastures. You know what I mean by bluer pastures. So that is 100% fact. The churn rate is super high. Literally, they created a team of employees within stores to deal specifically with Sprint customers who are pissed because their service has taken a nosedive. They were with Sprint for a reason. Sprint worked better than T-Mobile where they lived and where they worked. But the problem is T-Mobile didn't do the legwork to cover up the difference of the gaps, of coverage. If you're going to start shutting down Sprint sites, you need overlapping T-Mobile coverage, which they didn't do. So the key was to retain the Sprint sites, but they are actually shutting some Sprint sites down that they actually need.
Yeah.
It's incredible. But here's the thing, Mike, and the rest of you guys know this. The fiber optics, the internet backhaul to some of these sites is $10,000-$20,000 a month. The operations, the power, the rent. It's an astronomical fee to operate these sites. T-Mobile's like, we're shutting it down. We got to cut costs. We're losing customers anyways. They're leaving. They're going to bluer pastures. They're going to red pastures, whatever. This move, the upgrade for the unlimited on tier, it is 100% tied into a high churn rate. How long is T-Mobile going to continue to pretend like Sprint customers aren't leaving? That's their business. They're going to have to deal with it, but I'm not going to ignore it. That move right there, you may think it's helping customers because it could be, right? They're going to get unlimited plans. They're going to price match, tiered data, put you on unlimited. That could help customers. But at the end of the day, it is going to stop their bleeding. It is going to benefit them to keep their revenue up. If you believe that T-Mobile is out here just helping everybody, just passing out candy, I got a bridge for sale in Brooklyn for you. I got an oceanfront property in Idaho ready to go. This can't be naive,
No, yeah. And what's amazing, Sneed, on my Twitter, when I was getting replies from these people, I was reading some of their responses to me. Now, some of them make some fair points, but they actually believe that it is genuine, them trying to help. And I'm sitting here going, this is a business. This is the tactic. This is what they use.
It might be helping people, though. It might
might
help some people, and I think it will help some people. But
it will definitely.
The bottom line, it's going to be helping the company.
Yeah, the company's going to get the 2-1 profit. And another thing that you mentioned was Sprint customers, flipping over and leaving. Well, that's 100% fact because I can tell you for Florida used to be number 1 for Sprint. People down there in Florida love Sprint. Now, all of a sudden, they don't want to stay anymore because, they found out about T-Mobile. And some of the people that I know, like own family, friends, and neighbors, everybody in that area, have all told me from their own words they will not go to T-Mobile. So when they found out that T-Mobile and Sprint were merging, they went right to AT&T or Verizon. So Florida should have been priority to them. They're losing a lot in Florida. I can tell you that much. They're losing a lot in Florida.
But here's the thing. It's not like they can't compete for those customers at a later time when they shore up the network and take care of some of these issues.
They could, yeah.
Customers will always look for the better deal and the better value. So they might come back, right? Or they could come back, really.
Or
as long
they
as
could be
T-Mobile
like your dad.
continues. Yeah,
See, that's the biggest fear.
Bro,
that's the biggest fear.
If I say T-Mobile, my dad turns around and walks away.
No, he'll probably slap you and be like, "What? Why are you talking about this ridiculous company?"
Bro, he cussed at me one time. I'm like, Pop. I'm like, what? It just doesn't resonate with everybody. I think is what kind of Technoid was saying too. Big shout out to Austin. Thanks for that super chat. He's gonna email Eugene tonight for a new site by his dad's land. Getting Sprint and T-Mobile customers like crazy lately. Yeah, we're seeing that quite a bit.
We're seeing that.
There is definitely churn. Okay.
Wait, is Tyrone here? What's going on?
Tyrone is here. Tyrone, I wanted to get your take on a couple of things. The 5G phone trade-in upgrade situation, and then also the unlimited trade-up, the tiered data plans getting all pushed up to unlimited, and then price matching.
Yeah, so can you guys hear me good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is a big one. So again, this is one thing that I want to mention, and I want to make this very clear. This is the perception versus reality. This is what T-Mobile is pushing. They're trying to push a perception that is not reality. That's what it's looking like to me. That is what it's looking like to me. It looks like the phone trade-ins. Some people are saying they're trying to copy Verizon. We can say that, but we don't know for sure. Maybe they did plan this before Verizon launched theirs, but we don't know. But it looks like to me, again, they're offering these deals to grow in volume. Again, the ARPU is likely not going to be improving from this, especially getting AT&T and Verizon customers to come over for the same price. And I think they're looking to upsell them into the home internet is what they're mainly looking at for that opportunity. But like I said, now they're really pushing a perception versus reality, and it's gonna get pretty ugly. We saw the downfall of T-Vision. I don't know how long they can sustain this home internet product. It's gonna be a big issue.
I wouldn't be surprised if they discontinue it 3 months into its release, like T-Vision. I really would not be surprised.
So here's something that I thought was interesting, and I'll definitely ask for everybody's take on this. T-Mobile home internet was mentioned last. It did get emphasized, but it was mentioned last. The first thing was free phones. All right, that's a tactic. All right, free phones. The second thing was plans. Right, those are the two most important things to people directly.
That's what.
And then the home internet, right? It was HINT, so they weren't going to go without it. And then they spoke to the merger. They wanted to let people know that we're still going to follow through on our merger promises, right? So they did everything they had to address everything that's been discussed over the last several months, merger related. So they know that people aren't going to forget. They know that the perception, Tyrone spoke to it. They don't want to look terrible and awful. So what they did was they announced that the home internet is now going to scale. It's going to go mostly national. They want it, I think they're talking about up to 30 million homes right now, 10 million of those being rural. That's really their customer in this. Their customer is really not. It really shouldn't be me. It really shouldn't be Mike. It shouldn't be Tyrone, or it shouldn't be Moose. Because we have fiber options, we have other providers, home ISPs with, faster coaxial or whatever the case may be. But like for somebody who's looking at Starlink, for somebody who's looking at fixed wireless, that's who they're targeting with this. And it might help people that have DSL options or whatever, HughesNet. You never know. But I have concerns. I'm not concerned about the customer care. T-Mobile customer care is the best customer service team in the industry. Hands down, these people are so good. Dude, I've had to deal with them extensively now that I've had this home internet. They are the best. You literally think they're your neighbor. How nice they treat you.
Hold up.
Like literally, I'm expecting them to come and bring me lunch, dude.
I can't
Hold
even
up.
deny that. You're speaking truth.
Hold up. You're not concerned about the insanely long wait times that are people are
That
having to
has
experience
happened
now?
to me. That has
Yes.
happened to me, but that's not the people, right? The people serving are obviously overloaded.
Correct.
There's not enough of them.
And it's going to get worse. It's about to get a whole
with
lot worse.
with the home internet, you're gonna be getting grannies calling up every day. Oh, my internet's working.
I feel like
But-
this is
but
an
here's the-
indication, Sneed.
But here's the thing, and this is what some people didn't really talk about. They announced 30 million households consumer wise. They already announced double of that for business. They're touching 60 million households for business. How do they keep up with that demand? Every time
not.
somebody calls in with an issue, they're sending them a new router. How do they keep them in stock in the warehouse? It just sounds like they're going to take a massive loss up front, and people are gonna keep waiting 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks for these replacements to come in.
You're most definitely right because. Oh, go ahead, Moose.
Well, just really quickly. Yes, their customer service is top notch, Sneedman, but this is an indication that there is significant problems with something in their company. If you have 2+ hour wait times on the phone. Now, why does everybody hate calling in, right? It's, they shouldn't be trying to fix their thing, right? If they can fix it on the app or if they can fix it at a store. But the long wait times is an indication that there is something else going on here. And I think this is a very big deal. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say real quick, the wait time thing you mentioned, it does indicate, it reminds me of a very similar experience that I remember a while back. So we had T-Mobile services, and I remember from my experience, we had the cell boosters. I don't know if you guys know they had cell boosters. I'm pretty sure you guys knew. And every time those cell boosters started getting slower and slower and slower, their solution was, we'll send you a new one. We'll send you a new one. And Tyrone, you brought up, them meeting the demand. And truthfully and humbly, I don't think they're going to meet it. And you all make such fair points, but we don't know until it happens. So my only thing that I can do is just sit back and wait, but I definitely will take note.
Before I just want to introduce Max Tech Studios. He just came in the live chat. Welcome, man.
How's it going, people?
Yeah, buddy. Good.
What
We're
up,
just
man?
doing this unlimited plan 5G unpacking of all the stuff here. Let me give a big shout out to Keon. Thank you for that super chat. He's asking, so is there any upside to this product? There is enormous upside to this product. In fact, if you think about the way T-Mobile is positioned with their spectrum holdings, the capacity has so much potential. They can actually make an incredible product. It's just in a poor performing state right now. People are begging and dying for another home internet option. They're literally pleading to T-Mobile, get this right. We want to give you our money. Take our money. Bro, I told T-Mobile, take my money. In beta, take my money. That's how crappy and trash Cox Communications is. Take my $50 a month. Take it. And just give me a reliable, steady, dependable internet service. If it can't be reliable, if it can't be dependable, I'm out.
The new database that was specifically set up for people to sign up and to check availability, it crashed. That's how many people wanted to sign up for it today already. It went down.
Yeah, like midstream, right? Like while they were doing the
Yeah.
event.
Yes, it went down.
Big shout out to Pimp Hard for Life. Appreciate that super chat. I absolutely will keep it up. Thank you. Appreciate the words of encouragement. Yeah, man. The capacity is a concern long term. Like it's just upgrades, but like the dependability is another problem. You know, when people were connected to 1041, they were still reporting problems. That's why I feel like it's hardware related. So Tyrone, they're sending me out a new unit, and they
Yep.
told me they said we're going to try to send you a new one, but it might be a refurb. That was her exact words.
Yep.
And they gave me another free month of service.
Yep.
And they
I
overnighted
want
the
to.
new one to me.
I want to see. So it's good. They overnighted it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, they're keeping refurbished units in the warehouse then to send to people. That's yeah. That sounds like a plan, huh?
Yeah. And
Wow.
they emphasize the terms for you to return it very quickly, because I think they're servicing them as soon as you send them back.
Yeah.
They
Getting it
got
fixed.
techs working on the hardware like as soon as they come back in.
Yeah.
Big Rubes, appreciate the super chat, bro.
It left the building
Uncarrier
a
has
long
left the
time ago.
building. Go
It
ahead,
left the
Max.
building as soon as Mike Seaver became CEO.
Well, I'm not going to argue that. Ethan, big shout out to you, man. Thanks for that super chat. He's playing the horn there. T-Mobile would strike gold if they offered a solution to people who did not need a full gateway. I'd much rather use my Velop than that trash Nokia. So I'm guessing that's a brand. So what if they just sent you a SIM card and then allowed you to manipulate whatever, setup you wanted? But I think they want to have control of what you do with the network. They have to. You got to keep in mind that SIM card has to be operated a certain way where mobility takes precedence. No matter what they tell you, the T-Mobile home internet is a neutered version of the mobility network. You know what I'm saying? It's not prioritized. Big shout out to Barry. Barry, hey, I always see you in the comments of my videos. Appreciate it very much. Thank you for that engagement. If they have that kind of demand for this product, why would they ever slow down the CapEx? Bruh. Barry, you are officially a friend of the channel for life, bro. You're
Go Barry.
Oh my god, man. That's what I've been saying. Like, you're winning, dog. How you gonna cut down the spending?
Yeah, big yeah to Barry.
Yeah, big yeah to Barry. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they didn't address that, by the way, at this thing. They weren't going to talk about that. They did say they're shooting for 100 plus megabits per second on the home internet. Sievert did ask for patience and performance and availability. Not a good look, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They stressed the poor customer care. They wanted to address that with home ISPs. 5G for all, reliability, consistency, scaling national, beyond suburbs, bigger cities, blah, blah, blah. Now the largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G. Okay. What else we got? Oh, they're pushing Scam Shield to rural America. I didn't know that was a thing that they needed. Unlimited to rural.
They're still
obviously.
pushing that? They're still pushing that at all?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, at this
T-Mobile
point, sure.
Tuesday too, Max. T-Mobile
At this
Tuesday.
point, it's not surprising to me.
The creation of jobs in rural America, what they were calling hometown jobs, creating 7,500, hundreds of new stores in small towns. John Fryer came up to talk a bunch of crap, how he's from like rural West Texas and all this other nonsense. Bro, we get it. We get it. You grew up in like an oil field. We get it, Good for you, bro. Hometown experts, 2,500 towns and 2,500 new jobs. Mike Seaver said, hey, apply now, dude. We're going to give you a job. So
the amount of jobs they announced sounded like the same amount that they let go last year.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
what I'm So no net gain. I bet you there's still minus, right? But here's the thing. If T-Mobile ends up growing and the home internet takes off and they need more customer care, they need more stores, they need, all this. If they have a lot of success, then the organic job growth will be there. So I don't care. As long as we end up with growth for T-Mobile, because Verizon is shrinking. They're shrinking their retail space. AT&T has completely changed their retail space. They've gone from having a lot of corporate stores to now authorized dealers. So to me, if T-Mobile will attack that market that way, as long as they're always, adding and growing, I'm good.
Yeah.
Max,
My opinion
go
is
ahead and
this.
comment on anything from the announcement. Go ahead.
So, I mean, I like that they're expanding it. I like that they're making it available to people who probably need it the most. But what they need to do is they need to improve the speeds. They need to improve the reliability. I don't feel like it's ready enough for them to roll it out. I mean, I guess they're rolling it out to the right places for people who are willing to try new things because their other only options are just garbage. So, but as a product, as something that they're going to be trying to roll out to everyone, as a home internet solution, alternative to the big greedy cable providers, it feels unfinished.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody is saying we want to see T-Mobile fail or anything like that. It's
No,
quite the contrary. I think we all want to see them compete. They're in a position of strength right now, but I think they're doing one thing wrong, and I think this has to be said. Being
yeah,
the first does not mean it is going to be done well. It just means you're first, right? So, for example, with the home internet product, they rushed it out. It's been having trouble. They don't have a backup plan. There's no second piece of hardware. They don't have any of that, right? It's just being first has hurt them. The first to 5G was Verizon, and it didn't move anybody's needle until year two, right? Millimeter wave didn't hit a sizable number of markets and didn't scale until the end of last year. You know,
Oh yeah, and
and
you know,
T-Mobile's
it's a
Band
perfect.
71, their low band 5G, it didn't offer any benefits. Like, it didn't help anyone.
If there's one lesson that tech companies have taught us from looking at over so many products, so many different services, never rush to be first to the table. And I think the best example that I can give in recent time, Samsung with their foldables. If you guys remember what happened in the beginning, that was a beautiful nightmare. It was a masterpiece in the writing. They announced the foldables. Then I believe Xiaomi announced theirs. We're going to release it first. And then Samsung rushed it to release theirs first. And they had so many issues peeling the screen, it not working, dust getting caught. So they recalled the product, took another couple million to invest in it to re release it, and still they had problems. Now they've got it figured out. Thankfully, it seems like they're much better than what they were. But if there's anything that tech companies or anything in life has taught you, it's okay to be first at some things, but when it's something of a big magnitude where you're investing to the millions, you might want to rethink your strategy before you go all in.
So watch this. And you guys know my saying. Don't listen to what carriers say, watch what they do. T-Mobile will tell you, Mike Sievert especially, and Neville Ray too, they will tell you that they are 2 years ahead of Verizon and AT&T. Well, if you're 2 years ahead, why are you rushing out an inferior product? If you've got that much time, if you're that far ahead in this 5G game, why are you rushing out a less than adequate or low performing product? Tyrone, have at it.
I'll tell you why, because Verizon's getting ready to close that gap quick.
That's my point. Like, that you say there's a 2 year gap. I know there isn't a 2 year gap. Literally in December, I swear to you, literally, they will turn on C-band in December. The testing is
Yep.
being done now. The hardware is going up now. T-Mobile's 5G monopoly, meaning like they're the only ones that can mid-band scale, so mid-band 5G. That window slams shut to be the only company that could do it because all the other companies have their mid-band on LTE, right? So, you know, the merger, the Sprint deal, you know, it gave T-Mobile a chance in 5G. Otherwise, they were going to get their lunch taken from them at the auction for C-band. They weren't going to be able to compete with AT&T and Verizon. They would have priced them out, right? So that window slams shut in December. That's 7 months away. You get what I'm saying? That's not 2 years.
Yeah.
And I've always said that a company needs to compete. There's nothing to win. What is winning in business? It's when you're making money, your investors and your shareholders are happy, right? You have a lot of customers. Your customers are happy. They pay you money, you know? that is the case. There's nothing to actively win. You win business. You don't win, like, even a speed crown is meaningless. Even a coverage crown is meaningless. You need to serve your customers. That's how you win in business.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, they're only doing this because it benefits them. It's just common logic. All right, well, I have to go right now. I'll still listen, but yeah, thanks for having me on. I definitely want to come on more. Thanks.
Thanks, Max. Appreciate you, man.
I want to share a story, really sad story. I know I spoke to Sneed about it. I spoke to Tyrone about this. It happened on Saturday, but the carrier that you choose to spend money on may be a life and death situation. I have a friend of mine who was in a very unfortunate situation where she could not send text messages through iMessage, nor could she send regular green bubble text messages. She could not get a call out, and I verified that area has band 41 fully upgraded cell site. So the cell site basically was completely congested. It is what it is, right? And people think that it's not possible, but it is, even with band 41. What I'm about to say is very disturbing, but she was very, very close to being in a very harmful situation. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that.
I'm sorry.
But even the police, when they came to the scene, said, why the hell would you rely on T-Mobile? Because they know that they can never trust T-Mobile. The same, within 24 hours, she switched to AT&T. I have never seen something so disturbing because of connectivity issues. And this is not just an isolated incident. I'm sure that a lot of people that rely on a company that can't effectively upgrade their cell sites or have a good enough cord, it's just unbelievable, man. After that night, there's no going back. There's no going back. There's no way anybody can trust a company that in an emergency situation, you can't even call 911. That's how fucked up it is, guys.
Moose, hearing that story actually pisses me off about T-Mobile. See, I don't know if you guys remember, but I came on with Sneed. Sneed, you can comment on this. Do you remember when there was that big hurricane down Texas, or that storm?
Yeah.
Do you remember the night I went off and got pissed off about their solution for people finding help? Do you remember that night?
Yeah.
You remember? Yeah. That story, Moose, that pisses me off about T-Mobile. That was one of the things I said. You put people's lives at risk. That's a whole other territory. I remember specifically saying that night, I said, you play with people's lives, that is something beyond redemption in my eyes. And I remember that night I flipped out. People called me over emotional, but I had a legitimate reason to be pissed off. They were more concerned at the time for investing in crappy ads for Super Bowls rather than giving their customers a dedicated server or backup generators to help people get in touch when they needed help.
You bring up a good point, Mike. I've had this conversation with people.
We've had this convo.
The backup generators and stuff like that. I have.
You know what the hell? Let's crack open the book. You know what? We're talking about it right now. So you know what, T-Mobile? You know what you could do that's so Uncarrier? How about you advertise the safety of your customers? Why don't you talk about, being reliable for your customers? Why don't you maybe invest your money in real things like that? Because when I hear stories like what Moose said and what happened back in January, it pisses me the hell off. That you will play around with people in a time of crisis and your solutions are, oh yeah, you need Wi-Fi calling, or oh yeah, well, we couldn't do much. I don't want to hear it. Moose, I am so sorry for what happened to your friend. And I know,
You know-
sorry is not a big enough word, but you know what? I shouldn't be the one apologizing. I shouldn't even have to say it. Your friend shouldn't have been in that situation, should have been at help.
You know,
But a
Mike,
carrier.
I always hope that T-Mobile got the FirstNet deal somehow, some way, got some
You just
kind of
went
a.
mute. Sam, you went mute. I think something.
Can you?
By
hear
the
me
way,
now?
Technoid, I
Nah,
sent you
it
a
went out.
Twitter message of what exactly happened. But go ahead, Sneed.
Look, I'm trying not to get mad.
Is my
I
volume?
don't
on?
want to get
Can you
pissed
guys
off.
hear
Oh,
me?
now you're good. Now you're good.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I always kind of wished and hoped that T-Mobile got in on some kind of like a government subsidized contract, where like, say for example, like the backup generators, they would be incentivized to want to install those at more sites, like I don't know, X amount of sites within X amount of time, just to incentivize them and push them to put those at. Because if that's one of the shortcomings of the network, it's also a safety issue. The FCC could somehow, develop some kind of program to help with those sorts of things. I don't think safety needs to be compromised. It definitely needs to be an important primary element of a network. And all due respect to Roger Entner, who was actually on Stetson's podcast last week, and I had an interaction with him on Twitter, and he was talking about network parity, basically saying that all the networks are very, very similar now at this point. He's not wrong, but he's thinking like an analyst or something. Like he's not actually thinking like a consumer that, like myself. I went on vacation last week. We spent a few days. We were all over the state of Ohio. When I went a couple of miles off the interstate, the T-Mobile service was poor. It was connecting, but it wasn't great, right? But when we got to the resort, there was no service. There was none. It wouldn't connect anything. So that's concerning, right? So there's that part. But then in the case of like what Mike is saying, the backup generators, Entner said to me
Yeah, it
in
went
the
out again.
interaction,
Am I the only one not hearing him, or Moose? Tell me if I'm crazy.
He jolted. Sneed, you there?
Joel.
I can hear him just fine. I heard this whole conversation.
can you
No,
guys
I
hear
heard
me
him
now?
then. Nah, yeah.
Okay, so when I had this interaction with him on Twitter, I mentioned the backup generators as being an important piece of why there isn't network parity, because the trust that people have is with FirstNet, the trust is with AT&T, the trust is with Verizon. I don't know, Zach. Maybe the interface is acting up. I'm not sure, but see, to me, if the network goes down one time, but the other networks don't, now that person is like, I need to switch. It doesn't have to happen 10 times.
Yeah.
If it happens once, it could mean that people will churn and leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not trying to put T-Mobile down. I'm just saying I know how customers are. Like, my family can't be compromised. There's got to be millions of people that would agree with that statement, right? So,
Yep.
Just to kind of reinforce that. I don't know if anybody wants to offer any commentary on that. Appreciate you, Obed. Thank you for that. John, thank you for your super chat. Mike about the Stone Cold Stunner Sievert.
He's talking about me. Hell yeah. Give me Mike Sievert. Give me Mike Sievert. I swear. Put me in a room with this man for 2 minutes. Nah, I'm just playing. I wouldn't do that.
GTR
But for real, though.
with the super chat. 99% of cell sites in Puerto Rico have generators after Hurricane Maria. There you go.
But that
You know
was-
what's
that
amazing is
wasn't-
they.
that didn't come from T-Mobile. That was probably a mandate from the
government.
from the government itself. There, just like California, just like Florida, you have to have generators on your sites.
See, but here's the issue, guys. No amount of generators will fix what I described on Saturday. And I'm not talking about it from an emotional point of view. I'm talking about it from a technical point of view. The issue is that regardless of how much capacity you have, there is still no core separation. There is no network slicing. That is the real problem. Because at the end of the day, she's paying on T-Mobile, she was paying on T-Mobile the top Magenta Max, and she still couldn't get a simple phone call in. that is congestion to levels that I have not seen, unless it's at like a an event, like a carnival, or where there's tens of thousands of people. You know what I mean? In a certain location.
Right.
But when we had the massive outage from T-Mobile, thousands of people couldn't call 911.
Exactly.
So, like I said, guys, that's kind of stuff, playing with people's lives, not being prepared, that pisses me the hell off. Because it's not that, it should have been addressed, but yeah, damn it, it should have been addressed. This is something that you're supposed to be by default. I understand your business is to give services. You're supposed to provide for your consumers. The number one thing you should be providing to your consumers is reliability, sustainability, but also ensuring safety. Being able to reach a responder, being able to reach help in any scenario. Shouldn't matter where it be. And the thing that annoys me to a goddamn passion. I'm about to take this goddamn rubber band and throw it at T-Mobile. It's annoying how people can say that, oh, well, T-Mobile, they still got ways to go. My bollocks. They don't have ways to go. This should have been done. But where does the money go? Advertisement. On celebrities to push their crappy mandated government software. It goes to anything but the importance. Now, again,
Mike,
Scam Shield is fine.
But that was part of their initiative, was to change the perception. But their goal to change perception was through marketing and not through actually performing.
That's it. That's my point. They only care about the marketing. They don't actually care about performance. If they cared more about the performance when they had those outages in January in Texas,
but that's more expensive.
Yeah,
it's
but
more
still
expensive to actually do the network piece than to just.
No, but it's not even network piece. These are foundations that had to be set up even from prior to all this. Like, this should have been in place.
That's what networking is. Networking is not Spectrum.
No, I know it's not Spectrum. I know.
People think. No, I'm saying people think that you have 160 megahertz of 2.5 gigahertz, and they think, oh, that's networking, and it's speed test, and it unfortunately is not. It's being able to offer that connectivity in all the places your customers need to be served, and under all scenarios and situations.
Well, that's where a backhaul would be useful in situations, or maybe even something that Zero Cool mentioned one time, satellite sites, something like that, like things like that, because it feels to me that there are more excuses than solutions.
Tyrone, you want to take this one on Moose?
Perception versus reality. It's like I said earlier, that's the game that T-Mobile is going to play. They're now telling you that they can offer a great network and value. You don't have to choose anymore. That's the perception that they're trying to create.
Yeah. They did say and mention that in the, I want to say it was in March?
Yep.
When they first announced around the time of this Uncarrier event that it was coming.
Yep. And I don't know if you've seen their new business commercial. They're stating it in that commercial as well. You don't no longer have to choose. You can now get a great network and value.
I am very disturbed by this T-Mobile newsroom article saying that T-Mobile now has the largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G.
Yeah, okay.
What?
Yeah, okay.
Whoa. I was like, what are you talking about by reliability here? Okay. Reliable for what? For you to just see an icon? Because that's pretty much what it is.
My point exactly, Moose.
Yeah.
And you know something? I'll add on real quick. Mm-hmm. We get it. This is all a marketing scheme. We get it's a marketing gimmick. We get it. We understand you have to push a company. You understand you have to sell a product. But there's a fine line between, selling to the masses and being able to fool the masses, and then those who know what the hell they're talking about and actually can disprove that marketing. We have guys like you, Tyrone, Moose, Sneed, Carlos. We've got so many people that have disproven the marketing, and still, to me, it amazes me. And now, obviously, that doesn't make a dent right away. But if you're able to give knowledge to the uninitiative, to those who don't know, you, my friends, are probably the real winner of all this. You educate better than you could ever to other people who get fooled by this crap.
Big shout out to Ryan. Thanks for the super chat. The remainder of Sprint in Denver is extremely fragmented. thinking recent shooting in Boulder, Colorado. I work in retail. I have no service at work. Well, I guess it all kind of depends. No service as in no signal, so you can't call or text. No service as in like your data doesn't work well or something like that. Because I think there's levels to this. Like if you can't call or text, I feel like that's unacceptable. You know, it's just you got to have that type of coverage, right? You just calling and texting is like a non-negotiable at this point.
Yeah, you gotta have that.
And especially when your competitors have it, right, Tyrone?
Yeah. That's why I say when people actually get a taste of AT&T and Verizon, because all they've known is T-Mobile or Sprint, it becomes a whole different ballgame. It's like, I actually have service here. What? I can actually place a call. Where before the customer thought it was normal.
So Keon brings up a good point. And I said this when they first merged the companies and they got the clearance and the approval for the merger. I said, I really hope that they worked all the kinks out of their networking issues and they took care of their coverage gaps and they finished Band 71. I was begging for that. I was like, because I thought to myself, if they don't fix these fundamental basics of networking, and then they're going to try to simultaneously do all of that while integrating a company, retail, network, build out 5G, they have to do all this simultaneously. It's impossible. And their capital investment was always going to be lower than Verizon's and AT&T's just because of size. You know, and the, you know, we think about the precedents, like what has Verizon and AT&T taught us? They taught us that to make great networks, you need to spend a lot of money. Tyrone, Moose, this is something we stress. There is a correlation between billions of dollars spent annually and network improvements, because if we look at the bottom two spenders over the last 5 years, it's T-Mobile and Sprint. When we look at the bottom two network performers, it's T-Mobile and Sprint. When we look at the top two spenders, it's Verizon and AT&T. The top two networks nationally are Verizon and AT&T. It's not, it's not like something I'm arguing with anybody. I don't need a perspective on that. That's what it is. That's the name of the game. And then people say things like, "Oh, you just throw money at the problem and it fixes it." Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you invest wisely, you know what you're doing, it'll work.
Yeah. So I said, I mean, Keon is saying that we're just 1 year in, which I completely agree with. I have no problem. So then we go into year two. How much improvement do we see in year two? That remains to be seen. Then we go into year three, and we got a CapEx cut. I mean, the other day, Keon commented and said, "Oh, I'd like to see what T-Mobile's millimeter wave plans are." Well, I'd like to see it too, because we don't know.
Yeah, we don't even. You know what's amazing too about that is they talk so much crap about ultra wideband. They talk so much crap about when Verizon did it, saying it was not the real 5G experience. Then they turn around and go, you know what? Well, maybe we should kind of throw it in there because we have a layer cake. Which again, that stinking cake. I tell you, if I had $1 for everyone that said layer cake, I'm pretty sure I will be able to go to Sneed's factory and buy real cakes and enjoy them. But seriously, how can you mock what the competition is exceeding in, and then turn around and go, well, we're just gonna kind of do it, but. Obviously, they're more focused on sub-6 and mid-band, so that's more of their priority. But I find it hilarious because I still don't have an idea of what their ultra-wideband plans are or what they're going to use it for. Because if anybody can find a actual map of where T-Mobile 5G is located with this quote-unquote ultra capacity, I would love to see exactly where it's located because I don't think there's any place on the country that has it.
So we got to temper expectations. Big shout out to Michael. He said you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. You got to temper your expectations with T-Mobile and millimeter wave because it's.
Why do I have to temper my expectations?
For millimeter wave. Because
why?
Because they have already come out and said it's not an emphasis of what we're doing at this time. Their network plan has emphasized 2.5 gigahertz for capacity and 600 megahertz for coverage, and most of their sites are getting both of those upgrades when they do climb and do upgrades. So they've they've been true to their word when it comes to those two things, the low band and the mid band. They've also been true to their word about millimeter wave. They have not emphasized it. It's not a big piece of what they're doing now. We know they're going to have to eventually. They clearly have the spectrum to do it, actually, but they're just, they've prioritized this. So for any customer who is looking for ultra wideband with millimeter wave, you're probably not going to be getting it from T-Mobile. It's not what they're doing. So if millimeter wave is important to you, then you should look at a different company, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I won't lie to you guys. Verizon, they do brag about ultra wideband, and for me, I haven't seen it here on my neck of the woods because I'm more on the South Shore side versus more towards the north where the Verizon is and St. George Ferry on Staten Island. But I will tell you, when I was at the St. George Ferry, I was pushing 2.7, almost 3 gigabytes of download, and my upload speeds were incredible. And I'm like, if they can bring that to where I am, because I don't know what the mileage capacity is for ultra wideband, but if it was to be within the South Shore around here, my area, dude, I'm using that versus home internet for cellular because 2.7 gigabytes down. Do you know how much you could do with 2.7 down? Now, of course, again, it does depend on location, but I would also. Does anybody remember some sort of partnership they did with Walgreens to bring ultra wideband to their stores?
Yeah.
Is that still a factor? Because there's a Walgreens literally right down the block.
Yeah. So Verizon's got partnerships. They've established, some mech relationships. I mean, they're on the cutting edge and the bleeding edge of new 5G applications. They're literally going around to corporations and asking them, "What do you want us to do for you? We're going to sell you network as a service. What do you want to do with this ultra wideband that we have to offer? And we can build you and assemble the application you want to do."
Yeah, and it's interesting because if you wanna get a feel and idea of what the millimeter wave rollout looks like and how extensive it is, then look no further than Sneed's live streams.
Yeah.
Every single time you get on his live stream, there's a new node, there's CBRS, it's popping up all over. And it's not just Verizon, it's a mix of AT&T too.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the issue is, and this is what T-Mobile is going to run into, they're going to run out of prime real estate to put the small cells on when they get started. Because Verizon is putting so many of them up.
Mm-hmm. So, sorry, Tyrone. So this is actually Staten Island. So this is where I live. There's no surprise there. I'm not afraid to say that, even though I wish I was more here, Brooklyn. But, that's for another day. So I'm going to zoom in real quick. And if you notice here, right where I told you guys on the St. George Ferry, this little strip here has ultra wideband 5G, which is actually very nice, but I don't go there all the time. The only time I was there was for Daddy O's barbecue. Had a nice barbecue, and that's where I found ultra wideband, and I was like, wow, this is actually really nice. But I'm going to show you guys my area. I'm not going to show you my location, but I'll show you my area. So this is more towards the south, and I am actually here. So I'm not going to zoom in too much because, of course, I don't want to give away a lot of things. But this is actually the whole strip of my area, and I don't know why, but they didn't actually upgrade it to 5G nationwide, which, again, LTE is probably more faster anyway, so I'm not really surprised at that. But if you compare the maps, if you compare the scales, the most places you're going to find them are here in the city. See, the big spots, this is one thing I want everybody to know. They're trying to make ultra wideband feel like a seamless connectivity here in New York, especially the Lower East Side and Upper Side of Manhattan. Because if you notice, they're going from block to block. They want it to be very...
They want it to be a ubiquitous connection.
A ubiquitous connection. And even on the bridge... Even on the bridge, they've got connections. So obviously, you're not going to have anything here. But even on I don't know if that's the Brooklyn Bridge. I think that might be the Manhattan. I'm not sure. But the point is, they're putting it on bridges, people. So Verizon is making some moves to get this ultra wideband. But yeah,
they have it in Lake Erie.
Lake Erie,
I found the node on right in front of somebody's house, right on the edge of the lake, and it was pointing out to the lake. One of the nodes.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy, dude.
Oh, damn! They put it in North Carolina.
They're getting gigabit speed while they're on jet skis.
Wow! They put it in North Carolina in the two areas most popular, Raleigh and Durham.
Yeah, and we've got Tim and stuff. They're out there.
That's
they can
good.
test it. They just got to upgrade their devices probably.
Hashtag Florida is in the house. Florida. But you
Big
notice
shout out to
Florida has
Kaz.
more.
Thanks for the super chat, man.
Yep, Kaz, great job, brother. But yeah, back to what we were saying. I'm sorry.
Big Rubes with the super chat as well. Seems there's no middle ground from the T-Mobile customers I personally know. They either hate or love. Great content. Shout out to Los Mobile. That's right,
Yeah,
brother.
man. Los Mobile is the real deal.
Thanks for that donation. Appreciate
Manhattan and the Williams. Okay, thank you. I didn't even know. Oh, in Greensboro? Nice. I'm going to be in Greensboro in a few
BK's
weeks.
finest, bro. He had to let us know, man. He's BK's finest,
Dude,
bro.
let me know about Sheepshead Bay and Voorhees. But real quick, Sneed, so now I got to ask the question. So we've talked about the event, we talked everything, and all you guys have brought some points. I feel like there's more negatives than positives, but it doesn't get any up from here. But is it finally time now to talk about Mike Sievert and the event now? Is it finally time to dive into that book? Because we've spent a lot of time talking, and we were trending a little lightly on the Sievert Eugene, and I think now is the time. So I want to ask the question, even though it's your show, I'm sorry. What were your thoughts of Mike Sievert? Because I remember a lot of people prior to this event. I can't actually find an image of him on the event, so I just pulled up his profile here from the T-Mobile website. So a lot of people said prior to this event that this was going to be the event that will be a deciding factor for most people of where Mike Sievert is as the CEO, because they had only seen 2 events. This would have been his third, so it gives you a little bit more information. So a lot of people were saying this is the event that will give Mike Sievert some credibility or destroy. So I'm going to ask all of you before I go, because, I'm going to piss off some pink thongs, but what did you think of Mike Sievert during the event?
Let's start with Tyrone. Go ahead, buddy.
I want to hear this.
I think you had on a little bit too much makeup myself. It was a great act. It was good production. I give him that. It was a high production, but other than that,
sure.
He must have had on some $20 deodorant, because I know his armpits were sweaty, man.
Bro, I think his beard is gonna start sweating now. I think he's gonna be getting mushroom gravy through that thing.
Yeah.
Ugh. Look at him so shaved and clean. Why would you grow it out? Well, you know what? Honestly, considering John Ledger never had a beard, I guess he just kind of trying to find a way to distinguish himself, I guess. Just makes you look like a more bulked up nerd.
I think Ethan's onto something here. $5 super chat. Thanks, Ethan. In retrospect, the deployments by all these carriers over the last 3 years are insane. I totally agree. The networking game, I mean, just the innovation has been incredible. The capacity coming to market, the builds are exponential in terms of the rapid nature. Like, every time I look up around the bakery, there's more nodes and there's more CBRS. I drive around the city, there's more N41. AT&T's C-RAN sites are literally about to all turn on, and it's incredible. I mean, it's good to have this connectivity at this point. The fixed wireless options, the home 5G, the Netflix on Us promos, the Hulu Disney bundle, like all this stuff is great. Ethan's right? They're just at each other, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Ethan for bringing us back to planet Earth.
Absolutely.
That.
So we were talking earlier this week that it's very concerning when some of the top executives of any company leave the company.
Mm-hmm.
And there has been reports, multiple T-Mobile executives have been leaving the company.
I've heard that.
The original founder of Layer 3 TV, he left the company.
Yeah.
And that's what indicated to me that T-Vision was going to die. Recently, Tyrone reported, what was it, a chief operating officer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
The COO left. Apparently, people are thinking that it was like a Leger person. Maybe it wasn't syncing up with Sievert as much. All these things are very telling, okay? From all the way to the retail closures, to the executives leaving, he might be cleaning house.
I think if you're a Sievert guy, you're a Sievert guy, like within the company. Like you were identified as a Sievert person right off the rip, so you know where you stand. the John people, if they're still around, that aren't converted Sievert people, you're going to start to see them kind of going where they need to go, not fitting in or not. I don't even know if that's really accurate. We're on the outside looking in. We don't have confirmation, but big shout out to Adam. Thank you. He said, bring back John Leisure, much more entertaining. Yeah, I don't argue that. I think John was the entertaining part of the wireless telecom. I mean, at the time, Randall Stevenson was the CEO at AT&T, and then Lowell McAdam, I think, was the CEO of Verizon at the time. I mean, those guys are so old school and so old-fashioned and so non-modernized with their tactics and presence. I mean, John was like a breath of fresh air. I mean, John was a suit. John had short hair, wore suits at AT&T, and then I think he went to IBM or Gateway for a while, and then he ended up at T-Mobile, with his opportunity. So, but honestly, look, really all we care about is the company's performance for us to be customers, competition, them competing, offering new products, better products, enhanced services, push the envelope for AT&T and Verizon, all of that. Personally, there's something off about Sievert that's just comes off as disingenuous. And it's not actually about John Leisure. I mean, we all like John Leisure better.
Yeah.
But the reason I don't understand this one thing, they tried to play it off like he was the Uncarrier. That is such bullshit.
Everybody
He was
knows.
never. I mean, I believed it because John said it, but John lied. There's no way in hell Mike Sievert was the Uncarrier. There's no way. Or do we really believe that he just flipped a switch when he became the CEO? The one thing has to be true. It was either all lies or he flipped a switch when he became the CEO. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me tell you something. I've been waiting to go last because I know I'm pissing somebody off tonight, and I don't care who it is. You can come at me all you want on Twitter. My Twitter name is at 10 minutes.
Hold on. He's not effective as a CEO based on T-Vision, Quibi, and the home internet thus far. Yeah. Those are his projects, right?
Those were his projects.
He's taking failures on those.
Yeah, those are L's, bro. He's holding L's on
those. Holding L's. Yeah. Well, here's what I would say. When John left the company, obviously you have big shoes to fill. So nobody could really fill those shoes that John Leisure had. I don't think we can argue that Mike Sievert had to fill those shoes because they were too big to fill anyway. So I won't hold that against him. I don't think anybody could. But the one thing you need to do as a CEO is not just be yourself, but just keep the flow. You don't have to exactly be a one-to-one scale. You don't have to be a ripoff. You don't have to be anything. You just have to be, you have to be tuned to the consumers. You have to be tuned with your audience and new people you're trying to pursue. When I first saw Mike Sievert as CEO, I said, you know what? I'm going to give him a chance. Because I am a guy that believes in giving people a chance. I don't like to bash them from the get-go. I don't like to talk bad about somebody until they've done something. But I made a promise. I made a genuine promise that I was going to hold my opinion about Mike Sievert until his first year tenure as CEO is done. And it just so happens we are at the year mark, so I'm ready to give my opinion. I think this event told me everything I needed to know about Mike Sievert going forward. He is a CEO who not only is not in tune with the consumers, he's reading off a script, which is obvious, which is why those camera cuts were confusing most of the time. But it's amazing to me how somebody like Mike Sievert can walk around and say, I'm the CEO of the new T-Mobile. You are... I don't want to say the word, so I'm not going to say it. But you are a complete joke. You really are, Mike. And I'm telling you, I gave this man a chance. I watched 3 events. I've seen his announcements. I have seen everything. And let me tell you guys, this is the last thing I'm going to say. I knew it wasn't going to be good the moment the end of his first event came and he said, "My lawyers told me to say this." Once
What?
he said,
I remember
that,
he did that.
I was like,
remember that.
"Yep, I know where this is headed." The moment Sievert said that, and it's on video, you guys can look it up. It was on the Scam Shield, and I hold true to that. The
You know
moment,
when I lost, I was gone from the Mike Seaver trade. He came in. It was I think a quarterly earnings, and Walt was up, and Eugene tried to say a joke, the exact word for word joke
As
that John
Joe.
used to do to Walt,
I remember.
and I was like, "Dude, this guy is done. It's over. I'll never, bro." That was a straight. Like, you want to talk about biting? That dude straight. I mean. And he did the nervous laugh right after he did it, and nobody else was laughing, bro. Like, it was ridiculous. He was terrible.
Look, you know what amazed me about Mike Sievert though is how he can please the yes men. He just pleases. He's the perfect yes man. He pleases the shareholders. He pleases the board. He pleases these people because he plays it by the book. But at the cost of playing it by the book, you start to lose the charm of what T-Mobile once was. A company that wasn't by the book. And like I said, I saw that lawyer disclaimer and I'm like, that's why you have fine print at the end of a video.
Right.
You don't tell the world
Yeah.
that my lawyers told me to say this. Nobody in the
Shameless,
history,
Shameless.
nobody has ever said, I got to disclaim my lawyers. You put that
All
in
right.
fine print.
Let me get to these real quick. Ryan,
Go ahead.
thanks for the super chat. Millimeter wave by Verizon, 1.5 gigs down near me. Makes it hard to hold on to my Sprint employee plan. The $25 per line versus $80 per line is a hard choice. Yeah, I mean, cost analysis there, right? But, dude, the reason I'm not 100% all my lines on AT&T is because of ultra wideband. It's legit here. Like, this is a market where ultra wideband is a big deal. Like, it's a difference maker. So I understand that, and it's a cool technology that people want, right? It's become something they could market. Pete brings it up. They called it Uncarrier, so we tuned in. It's their advertising campaign, right? Pete's totally right from the objective of the marketing standpoint. Totally agree.
That's probably the only reason they're holding it.
Carlos says Eugene looks like a person I would have knocked out in high school and threw away in the
Yep. He probably was that kid who had an older brother who used to rub his face in the carpet, and everyone would say he's never going to be like his older brother.
So I've said this before. Michael Peppertech, big shout out to Michael Peppertech. Check him out on YouTube. He's got a channel, makes shorts, makes long extended videos, does live streams, great stuff. Good perspective on mobile devices and such. I remember I tweeted at Mike Sievert once, and he replied, bro. I tweeted, he said something about like leaving the house or something. And I was like, Mike, who you kidding? You haven't left the house in 2 weeks. And he literally said, yes, that's true. I haven't left the house in 2 weeks. Come on, bro. Like, he started growing a beard, like all this other stuff. And that's his persona. I don't know. He is giving off those vibes. Like, that's kind of what it is.
And I'm telling you, I don't expect him to be a John Ledger. I didn't expect that from him. I expected him to at least be somebody that can, again, be in tune with the consumers, be a pro-consumer CEO. But the moment that happened, and the moment I saw the scripted voice, the way his enthusiasm, everything about him,
What about the tippy toe thing where he stands on his tippy toes?
Oh my God. I swear to God, this dude thinks he's a ballerina. Come on, get him a pink tutu and he'll be at home.
Man, we're tough on Eugene, man. He's got it coming, though, man.
T-Chains can supply the tutu. He's got one in his store.
Okay. Big shout out to No Radio. Thanks for that super chat, man. Appreciate it. T-Mobile should go silent, make an effort to travel to rural areas, build and reach out to each community personally, recruit customers after they build. That would be Uncarrier. And I think that's what John did. I remember him doing those sorts of things. Bro, John used to call his employees, like store employees, emails, take calls. Dude used to like have parties in like arenas and throw money around. People just felt like he was a difference maker. I don't think Mike has those connections with people.
No.
Honestly.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to mention, so let's just roll back a little bit because I wanted to get Tyrone's take on something. Tyrone, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, why did you cancel T-Mobile Home Internet?
Because it didn't work for me. It didn't meet my needs. It
What
just didn't.
what is the main culprit? Like, I know you mentioned it somewhat in the videos, but a lot of people are skeptical. So just put it back out there. What was the main issue here?
There's a lot of uncertainty in the product. You call customer care, the proper solution for any. No, there's no solution on anybody. Yeah, we can give you credits or we can send you a new router. That's not a real solution. T-Mobile has no technicians to send to your house. So there's a lot of uncertainty. Are we going to get software updates in the future to make it better? We don't know. We have no idea. So I'm going to sit here with a product that's inferior, watch my live streams buffer, live TV buffer, quality degrades, pixelation, or am I going to cancel it and go with what I know works? I'm going to go with what I know works.
That's the way it should be. 100% agree.
I got through to customer care fast, and there was a new modem released. It has a different hardware version.
I've heard that too, but again, I don't know if I'm like.
Yeah, but think about it, Tyrone. Like, how many people are? Do you think half of the people are willing to work with T-Mobile on this, or do the other half say, "I have to pivot. I can't be without connectivity. It can't be compromised."
Yeah, that's a good thing too. I mean, even let's say in your case, they're shipping you one overnight, right? You would have 24 hours with no service inside your
Right.
house.
And this is why I didn't disconnect any of my other solutions. And this is why I've gotten on Los Mobile as my home internet provider. I'm literally using Los Mobile to make it happen.
Los.
You know, and it's been Los Mobile, LOS,
Yeah, LOS.
Mobility. Yeah, check him out. He's on Twitter. You guys can directly ask questions to their customer care team. Get connected to Los Mobile. It's been incredible, and it's a great value, and it's a high priority, and it's great access. So that's been my go-to. That and the Verizon Home Internet have been steady, reliable, and they've been there.
Gotta say, Los is proving everybody wrong.
Yeah, Carter doesn't like. He loves T-Mobile, but does not like the CEO.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at.
We all agree. Is it safe to say, all of us, not the live chat, because everybody has different opinions, but all of us here in this live stream, can we all agree we don't like Mike Sievert?
I mean,
if you do,
I measure his success by, the proper moves and execution. And so far, Quibi was trash. I don't know. We'll call that 50-50 in terms of responsibility. But T-Vision was an absolute failure and a bail. I mean, I'm glad he bailed. It was going to lose for them, so at least he did that. But he did fail it. And then the T-Mobile home internet, it's just, it's not ready. And they pretend like it is, but it's not.
Oh yeah.
I think that's got to be. That's from the top down. You know what I'm saying, Moose?
Yeah.
That's top down issues.
Can we also mention something that was announced yesterday as well?
Sure.
T-Mobile and Lumen, aka CenturyLink, right, expanded their relationship to include edge computing solutions. Why is this important? T-Mobile is trying to have this perception that they are going to deliver enterprise-level solutions on their mobility network, lower latency, reliability, etc. One of the things that I figured out a long time ago is that whenever we talk about MEC or even NEC, network edge compute, you have to have network slicing. You have to have that reliability in the network. So this to me is just like a whatever announcement until we actually see that T-Mobile has a core that's capable of doing network slicing. Because I know they did a big announcement about work from anywhere, right? Work WFX, right? For work from anywhere. A lot of folks are hesitant to go to T-Mobile because they know that, again, the reliability is questioned. Like Stephen A. Smith always says, it's suspect, the reliability suspect. You got people literally, not able to make 911 calls. So what exactly are you needing T-Mobile for if Verizon does it for you? Or AT&T?
Right. Josh says, who's worse, Cox or T-Mobile? Actually, Cox is worse because their infrastructure fails.
Yeah.
The T-Mobile problem is on Nokia. Well, their choice to use Nokia as the vendor of their gateway. So it's on T-Mobile, but again, they're not the manufacturer. So
they're not the manufacturer. Yeah. Somebody wrote here, Gabriel Martin. Could you bring up the comment for a second?
Thanks, Chaim. Appreciate the $2 super chat. Which router are you using with the lowest mobile plan? I'm using a Netgear Nighthawk, and I'm also using an ASUS router to go with it.
Very nice. So, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is true, but if it's true, then
if you believe, you can achieve.
If you conceive, believe, achieve, you'll be like Luke Rockhold.
Get knocked out in the first round?
Knocked out? No, you get hit by a sweet left daisy. Your daisy left. Ooh. But nah, if that's true, then there you go. If anybody thought so, then yeah.
I've heard people say that he's a bulldog behind closed doors. Maybe he and that could be good for a company, right? To have a bulldog CEO. So maybe that's what, Deutsche Telekom sees, and that's what they like about him. I don't know.
It's possible.
Oh, I have so much to say about that. Hold up. Stop the presses. Stop the presses.
He about to go off. He's about to go blasphemous.
Hold up.
Here we go.
Deutsche Telekom, and Tyrone has my back on this, okay? Because they're a German company. They are spending billions of euros worldwide to improve their network, okay? Yep. Billions and billions of euros. Today, if you go on light reading, T-Mobile Netherlands, okay, is expanding their fiber footprint. What the heck is T-Mobile US doing? They're doing fixed wireless, and they're not doing fiber. So we have a problem, ladies and gentlemen. We have Deutsche Telekom worldwide expanding their global infrastructure, which means their core fiber network worldwide, but they're not doing anything in the United States in that capacity. They'd rather spend between $10,000 to $25,000 a month for backhaul, because the people, I don't know what's gotten into people that they don't realize how expensive this backhaul is, this backhaul upgrade. 10 gig backhaul is very expensive. Even if you get it in bulk, it's still significantly more than 5 gig backhaul, than 1 gig backhaul. So you're asking T-Mobile to increase their operating costs, right? But there's no guarantee that people will actually come to your network. And we still have the matter of 10 lines for $100. We need to stop that, man. There's no way. $10 per line. There's no revenue being generated on that.
They're still doing the free line ads at T-Mobile, so they're still pushing the growth factor through free lines.
Free line thing never gets old, does it?
I also think that kind of like keeps people there, right? Like, oh, I got 12 lines or whatever, and I only pay for 8 of them.
Yeah.
They always told me growing up that nothing in this world is free. I guess T-Mobile sees that otherwise, huh?
I heard that saying once before, and you ain't
wrong. Anybody out there have any free lines from the other carriers? I know Sprint used to do it. I can't think of any time I ever heard
Verizon don't give anything away for free. The only thing they give us for free is if you pay more. But even then, sometimes it's worth it.
And see, that's kind of like, like I think customers see so much value in T-Mobile is they're getting so many different things like free lines and hand sanitizer on Tuesday and movie tickets and discounts on Shell gasoline and thongs and whatever scarves in the
pink
middle
lipstick.
of April, right? So
dog collar.
MPT. If you're interested about Los Mobile, he's on Twitter, Carlos S Tech. You can also check out his YouTube channel, Carlos S Tech. Moderators, could we get links to the Los Mobile Twitter customer support page, or the video where Los Mobile did that advert, for the service, the promotion. Let's see if we can get Los Mobile a little bit of traction here in the live chat. Moderators, make magic happen, please, and thank you. The only way Verizon is giving anything free is if you pay more. Technoid.
I mean, it ain't wrong though. I mean, it ain't wrong, but still.
No. I mean, yeah, like they include more value into the
They
plans
give you
by
more
going
value though.
premium.
You do pay for it, but
Right.
hey, you get more.
Is there any truth to this? What Anthony is
They give
saying
out
about recycled
number
numbers?
tiers to get unwanted. I've never heard that.
Yeah, I haven't heard that before. Anybody?
Well,
Moose?
well,
Tyrone?
when you go to another carrier and you take a different number, all the numbers are technically recycled. You don't get a brand new number. When you go port to another carrier, you get a new number. Somebody has used that number before. It's just people usually keep the same number for years. Like you guys have probably had your numbers for 10 plus years now.
Mine goes back to 90, 98, 97. What year were you born, Mike?
2000.
The
My
only
number's
time
older than you.
The young blood. I'm the young blood.
the only time that you get new, fresh numbers is if you have a brand new area code. Brand new.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brand new.
And there's a finite amount of numbers. So eventually, yeah, you will get area codes. Like, for example, once Montana and all these rural areas, right, get more people there, they'll have to have a new area code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't lie to you. When I got T-Mobile for the first time in 2013, the number they gave me, because my family and everybody had 917, but I guess because of me, they gave me 646, which was kind of crazy because not anybody I knew had that number. I was like the only one at the time that had 646. Everyone was on 347 or 917. Those were like the area codes. And when I went over to Verizon, originally they weren't going to port the number over because of the 646, but then obviously they honored it and I kept my number.
There is an issue right now that I have to let everybody know. If you are from PR, Puerto Rico, right? PR.
Mm-hmm.
If you try to port over a number to a U.S. account, it does not work. At least for AT&T, it does not work because of the whole Liberty, AT&T PR was sold off to Liberty. Now it's like a domestic roaming partner now. Mm-hmm. You can't take that number to a U.S. account. So just FYI.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like my T-Mobile line, somebody keeps calling asking for Ahmed.
Ahmed.
I still get what's the one I get? I get Darrell. Somebody's been asking for a Darrell for a long time. I still get him once in a while. Long time.
Some guy called me up the other day, says I'm looking for Krishna. I'm like, do I sound and look like a Krishna? Krishna. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Maybe?
There's somebody. Maybe. Yeah. Probably looking for an Eskimo.
So Mike Siebert is a backstabber, huh? God,
what?
Damn. Yeah, Gabriel Martin said it.
Gabriel knows something because he's posting something. He's a backstabber that even many employees in the main. Wow.
Sheesh. Somebody keeps calling me asking for Oscar. Carter, you are definitely an Oscar.
Nah. Zero Cool is an Oscar. I love you, Zero Cool.
All right, so where are you guys at with this Uncarrier announcement? Like as Moose would say, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Where are you guys at with this Uncarrier announcement with these moves, these three things? Like, do you see benefits? Do you see gains for customers? Do you see a reach for T-Mobile? Are you buying it? Are you selling it? Moose, go ahead. Start with you. Tyrone will go with you after that.
So, I do say that all the time because I want to get your opinion about what can actually be done about this or what will be done about this from the carriers. Hold on, give me 1 second. To me, this was not that big of an announcement. What's more of an announcement is the fact that We are already on Wednesday. Keep this in mind, what I'm about to say. We are already officially 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th business day of the month, and they have yet to announce preliminary numbers for Q1 2021. But yet they announced preliminary numbers of Q4 2020 on the 5th day of January 5th.
Yeah, they do that every year though.
That's
Before they go in the
That's to me more telling. What are they trying to manipulate in the numbers that they cannot announce their quote unquote preliminary numbers? Okay, that's the big one. Second big one is, I mean, people are trying to get out of 3G phones. We know that Verizon is giving away free phones. Apparently now AT&T is doing that as well. I've been reading comments from Reddit that people are just being sent brand new devices, similar devices like an A32, right? Those cheapy phones, 5G capable.
Mhm.
They're even opting for iPhone SEs. But here's the thing that I was thinking about the other night. And it's funny because I say the other night, in order for me to sleep, sometimes I have to think about certain things, right? Like theorize, brainstorm, etc. I don't think that LTE will fully be shut off. And what I mean by that is that the existing LTE infrastructure, like Spectrum, will be in service for a significantly longer time than 3G.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's too many people that are going to need to be switched to 5G and 6G eventually, that in 10 years they won't be able to do it. You get what I'm saying? Something interesting that I did find out recently is that the upgrades of existing and new customers is working. There's a significant percentage of folks that are taking advantage of these offers because they need the latest and greatest, or they want the latest and greatest. That's the primary reason why people are switching from Sprint, is because T-Mobile does not have a mechanism yet to go from a Sprint account to a T-Mobile account and get them off of these leases. It's in their best interest to keep them on Sprint because their equipment revenue is so high. So this is going to be interesting. April 22nd, right? April 22nd, AT&T. 23rd is Verizon, and then May something, right? May 6th is T-Mobile. Those 3 days are very important this quarter because we're going to see if it is true. I've been hearing rumors. Tyrone's been hearing rumors, potentially 2 million net adds for T-Mobile this last quarter. How? We don't know yet.
2 million.
How? 2 million. Yes. 2 million net adds for T-Mobile. How? I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Sneed, your take? Sneed, your take?
What?
He look at that. He look like a
How?
confused papa.
Bro, I literally just got the intel that the merger has costed them a loss of 16 billion. And Sprint customers are leaving in droves, and T-Mobile has had to create Sprint experts within the store for retention. How? It
No
doesn't
idea
even
how
make
they
sense.
Yep. No idea
Well,
how they
hold on a
spin this
second.
one, Sneed.
How? Yeah, and look, if you're telling people trade your 1985 Zach Morris Saved by the Bell phone, and you're telling them we're going to give you free 5G phones, that's not an indicator of strong additions. That is the opposite. What they're saying is one thing, and then what's happening is something else. What?
Yep.
Maybe Lawrence and Carlos are right. Maybe they're counting digits. I don't know. I swear if you would have asked me that a month ago, I would have said no way. But then with today's announcement, this is clearly an indication that the progress isn't fast enough. And I commend T-Mobile for trying to move on it, but that doesn't change the fact. I was explaining to somebody on Twitter the T-Mobile excuse train. I'm not the conductor. You know, I have to call a spade a spade. I'm watching what they're doing. I don't need friends. Bro, do you know what got me my first job out of college? I remember interviewing with the the chief academic officer. It ended up turning out to be my best job offer, so I accepted it. But they said, "What do you want us to know about you that is going to make you stick out from all candidates?" And I said, this was going on in the news. You guys remember in the news when it was like teachers were having situations with students and stuff?
Yeah.
Like it's mostly in Florida. I don't know what goes on in Florida.
You
I
would
have
be
no
surprised.
clue.
A lot
Yeah.
of things going on down there.
So that was happening, and I was like, look, I don't need 16-year-old friends. I don't need to be friendly with them. I need to teach them. I'm their educator, like that sort of thing, professional. There's a relationship of I'm the teacher, they're the student, and we're not friends. It's we're going to keep it like that. And they hired me because of that. You know what I'm saying? There's no riffraff. There's no tomfoolery. I look at the situation with like, what's going on here. I feel like it's riffraff and tomfoolery. Manipulating numbers, trying to make it look a certain way. I don't know what's going on. I have no clue what is really happening. And not that I need to know, but it just doesn't add up. We're the optics, we're on the outside looking in. When you make these promotions, when you make these types of announcements, they're designed to shake up an industry because you feel compelled to. For the business sake. It's not because you care about customers. Man, please. That bridge in Brooklyn is for sale, brother. If you're going to buy that nonsense.
And
I got that oceanfront property in Idaho, dog, next to the potato farm. All right, come and get it, dog.
I'll even throw in one of the boroughs here on Staten Island. I'll give you one of the South Shore residential areas for free.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
I don't know. If T-Mobile Home Internet's going to be a winner, they got to figure it out. It needs work. The network needs to. Obviously, there's always work to be done. I hope the capex doesn't decrease 2 years from now. And I don't know. We'll see what the quarter puts out. We'll see.
My overall thoughts on the event. I honestly was very disappointed because I know they're not capable of handling the network stuff right now. So I don't have any faith going into the home internet. But, from a business perspective, I can't sit here and not give them some kind of props because as a business major, looking at this from a major's perspective as a studier or a person studying in the field, they played it pretty good. They did very good marketing strategies. They really did catch the eye of the consumer on this one. So I got to say, good tactics, T-Mobile, good tactics indeed, but you will not fool me.
Here's one thing. So earlier I mentioned perception versus reality on this event. Something that I checked after the fact was it seemed like the stock and investors didn't take a liking to the event today. I don't know if you saw it. Their stock was down. And
stock went down.
They even talked about it in an interview. They asked Mike. And he's like, "Oh yeah, stocks always fluctuate like roller coasters," and that was kind of his response.
They react based on something either going to be projected or if they can see a potential growth factor. And if anybody ever pays attention to tech event stocks, remember when the iPhone failed at Face ID? Remember how that stock plummeted like a rocket and then came back up a little bit? Those events make or break a stock, especially for shareholders trying to capitalize on the momentum.
Yeah, but the home internet announcement should have been that growth that the investors have been looking for. But
they saved it last, Tyrone, and they only featured it to 30 million home users, and on top of the other 30 million, which is 60 for business users. It was supposed to be, from what I understand, from a marketing PR perspective, it was supposed to be nationwide, but they're not ready for nationwide. So I think that's probably maybe a determining factor. It wasn't nationwide versus 30 million for the average user, and then another 30 for probably the business end.
Oh, big shout out to Kazi. Thank you for the super chat. Just kidding. Prediction of 5 billion capex. They better be upwards of 12, man. And I hope they stay that way at least. The decrease is kind of crazy. The homie BG Grizzly in the house. Appreciate you, man, and take it easy. Good night. Adam is saying if AT&T marketing would copy T-Mobile, they would kill it. That's fact, right? Because they've got the thing to back it up. The one thing that I will say that I think is hurting stocks I'm dead serious, guys. When Mike Sievert goes on TV, goes on Liz Clayman's show, when he goes on these CNNs and of the world, he dips and dodges questions.
Yep.
He is terrified of probing and investigative questions. The market analysts throw him softballs. He sometimes just completely sidesteps questions and will say something completely irrelevant to the question. I remember there was a question on the Liz Clayman show, and then it ended up of, Eugene saying something about Charlie Ergen and Dish and the CDMA network.
And
Like, it
saying
was
that 95% of the folks are going to be on their network anyways on 5G.
So watch,
I was like,
so
what?
watch this. So watch this, Moose. If he believes that, then he wants us to believe that 92% of customers don't have a 5G phone, which is lies.
Yeah, lies.
Because the iPhone's been selling like hotcakes.
It's completely sold out still, Sneed. In
Yeah,
certain
but people
places.
are getting them. Getting them. There's no way that 92% of American customers don't have a 5G phone. That was probably true last year.
Yeah.
Because it was just Androids. The
now
moment
iPhones?
it went into an iPhone, there was going to be a seismic shift. I would bet 30% of people have 5G phones now. Like by the end of this quarter.
I could pull up the data for you if you would like me to. I could pull up.
Yeah, I mean, literally the iPhone 12 has completely shifted. The 5G device game.
Here, I'll pull it up for you. I'll see what I can.
Here's another thing that they talked about today, which I wasn't very clear on. He stated that four out of 7 AT&T plans had no 5G access when, if I recall correctly,
they just said
ago,
every plan is getting it, Tyrone.
Getting it. So I don't know where he's getting that info from.
My biggest worry is this, Sneed. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. My biggest worry is this. What's going to happen to T-Mobile when in June HBO Max is going to have their advertisement, version, right? With ads, right? And we already knew from the Investors Day, they hinted it's coming to all plans that don't have the $14.99 version of HBO Max now. So the starter plan, the extra plan, prepaid, Cricket, all the other, internet options. So again, it goes back. I go back and think, wow, what is T-Mobile going to do when people are like, you know what? I'd rather have ads than nothing.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
rather have service.
Yeah. All right. You ready for the data, Sneed?
Mm-hmm.
Also, I will leave a link. This is counterpointsearch.com, U.S. smartphone market shares by the quarter. So let's do it real quick. I'll pull it up in a second. So let's take a look at the Q4 of 2019 for T-Mobile before going into 2021, because going into 2021, this was when the iPhone 12 came out. So I'm about to read it. So at the end of 2019, Apple was at 49% and Samsung was at 20%. Going into January or Q1 of 2020, 5G Samsung device, 32% market share. Apple with LTE was at a 46% market share for Q1 and Q2. Now let's get to the 5G iPhone. You guys really want to know the impact of Apple. At Q3, when they announced the iPhone, Apple was sitting at 40% market share. And Samsung had saw an increase in 30%. So a 5% increase from Q2 to Q3.
Wow.
Q4 2020, iPhone 12, 12 mini, Pro Max go on sale. Samsung dips 16% from 30%. Apple goes up 25% from Q3 to Q4, and they currently sit, as of 2021, which they're still pulling in the data. We will be getting our readings very soon. This is what I study, guys. I'm in a major for this. They are sitting at a whopping, in the United States, 65%.
Okay, so how many of those phones are iPhone 12s or whatever?
25%. A 25% spike. because when they were going into the Q4,
Yeah, but that doesn't answer our question: is how many people have a 5G phone?
well, it doesn't give you a number, but
That's
that's
what
a quarter.
but that means that those phones are a difference maker and people have them.
But that's what I'm saying. This is just by the end. I'm gonna take a look later on because I'm still waiting for the data to come out to 2021. So we still are counting the numbers. But I'm just giving you guys an indication of how big the iPhone's impact on 5G was. It gave a quarter of the United States users a 14% increase in demand for 5G, but also a 25% increase in market share for Apple. But most of all, it expands 5G to people. So the argument that people aren't using 5G is starting to become a little bit on the side, especially when Apple makes a move. So, of course, the end of Q4 2020 said 25%. So we'll take a look and see what 2021 brings as the data is still being counted. So I will have the numbers up to date once we get into 2021 market share. But I'm telling you guys, and Sneed is right when he says the iPhones are a determining factor of a spike increase in users of 5G.
All right. Well,
I
I think we covered everything. Is there something else you wanted to mention, Tyrone?
Yeah, I think it's quite simple. Verizon, on their analyst, they said that 10 million devices are on their 5G base, and T-Mobile said the same. So that's about 20 million from both of those bases that have 5G devices. May not be iPhones, but it's a pretty good amount, I'd say.
And then AT&T has to disclose that too. I
Oh.
mean, they've been upgrading these iPhones like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I'm thinking that they're going to announce it at this Q1. How many phones are not just C-band capable, but just 5G capable? Period. This is just my opinion. I'm under the impression that it might be 20%. Like it's that high, man. There's that many people now with 5G phones. Just to do the numbers here, let me see if I can do the numbers really quickly.
Well, so here's how the numbers kind of work, though. Like, if a market analyst is looking at it, if it goes from 4 to 8%, that's substantial. If it goes from 7 to 15, that's substantial.
Easily.
I think there's between 12 to 15 million 5G devices on AT&T now, and this is why. Check this out, Sneed. The reason how I can figure that out is because look at the 5G download speeds on AT&T at the beginning when it launched and now. In a lot of places, the 5G download speeds have decreased on AT&T because there's more people utilizing band 12, band 2,
Band 5,
band 5, band
Yeah.
66.
right?
So that is the biggest indicator. And I know Tyrone was pretty surprised about this because that means that in that market, for example, Dallas, 5G is significantly slowing down the 5G sub-6. The only way to fix that would be to merge more DSS to 5G, band 2, band 66, market wide.
Or millimeter wave, one of the two.
Or more C-RAN.
Or C-band.
Or C-band.
All right, gents. I don't know. I was just gonna wrap it up by saying the 5G upgrade for all, the phones, the plans. It doesn't move me personally. I could see how it might be enticing to some people. Again, the end game is the benefit of T-Mobile. That is the fact. It might help some people in the process, which is cool. But the home internet it's going to continue to be a problem. They haven't really addressed anything that needs to be, which is the gateway, so the hardware, and the fact that people just need reliability and dependability. The speed can always come, but you're going to lose people when they are disconnected.
Yep. 100%.
All right. Big shout out to Tyrone from Tech Life. You guys could check him out at his YouTube channel. Let him know what you're up to these days, Tyrone.
Yeah, I hope we got some interesting stuff coming out. We got earnings coming up, so we'll see what happens, and we'll see what turns out with the sitcom at T-Mobile. I see it as a sitcom, man, like a soap opera myself. But
don't forget about the dish issues, Boost Mobile, and all that.
Oh man, it's coming.
All right, Moose, appreciate you coming through. Thanks for hanging out and offering your insights and commentary. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Technoid, tell them about what you've been up to and what you're doing these days.
Well, it's good to be back on your show. Feels like a while. I guess the only thing I could say is that I'm just trying to stay alive because people seem to have forgotten about me. But it's okay. I'm just doing my thing. I'm
No,
just having fun.
your videos have been awesome, bro. I'm watching them daily. I appreciate the
that.
grind, and the videos are good, man.
I
So keep up
appreciate
the
that.
good work.
Well, I will tell you guys this. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a tech YouTuber. It's pretty obvious by now. I do videos without the BS. That's my logo. But I will say I am not your average tech YouTuber. And if you want to find out why, if you guys love 90s TV shows, movie intros, things that are like so catchy and stuff, and you wish that people put time and effort into recreating them for their show, definitely check me out, guys. I love doing that stuff, and I do it for fun. I don't care about money. I don't care about fame. I don't care about reach. I just do it because I'm bored and I just want to have some fun.
That's right, brother.
But definitely check me out and check out all the individuals up here, guys. Tech Life, Moose, Sneed, and everybody. You know, they're great, crucial members of the SMT Nation.
All right. Awesome. Thank you guys for coming through. Thanks for being a part of the show. To all that are here, on my panel. I want to give a shout out to all that provided super chats. You guys are awesome. Thank you for those donations. Also, hashtag Mod Squad for those of you with the blue wrenches that held it down for me and kept things kosher in the live chat and provided links. And hashtag 2Live Crew for those watching this in the live. Hashtag Replay Gang for those of you watching on DVR. Hashtag Ravioli Gang if you're watching this while eating dinner.
That's still a thing?
That is still a thing. Ravioli Gang, bro. And hashtag Fart in the Wind for Nikki as he tries to navigate the tomfoolery that goes on
The
with the gongs and
tomfoolery.
such. So
I love it.
yeah,
The
thank you guys.
tomfoolery.
Los
Thanks for
Mobile.
everything. And
Los Mobile.
big shout out to Los Mobile, LOS Mobile. He's on Twitter. Yeah, powered by Big Blue. He's on Twitter, customer care. They're basically 22 hours operation. So wherever you are in the world or whatever, you can get through. They respond quickly. They serve their customers with high priority data access, and the going rates are competitive and affordable. And it's all about helping people. You got to love it. Los Mobile. Keeping you the most mobile. That's right.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else for the good of the order?
Don't trust T-Mobile.
Yep. That perfectly said, Moose. Perfectly.
All right. That'll do it. We out this piece. Peace.